Hello and welcome to the stream. My name is DAO Codes, or Daniel Olvera, as always. And today we're going to be doing a little bit of something a little different. It's something we're going to be implementing for the next little bit. So every Tuesday, we're going to be doing a system design interview practice question, just to get in the mindset of software engineering and be able to talk through some of the nuances. This is both for my benefit of I want to get better at these kinds of things and be able to identify different aspects of a system and then talk through them at a high level and then dive into details as needed. But then also just a nice way for us to kind of have a conversation about what software architecture in the enterprise world looks like. Because that really is one of the core reasons that I want to do this, is to help people understand that gap of, okay, I know how to code a for loop. What does that mean for an enterprise app? And then just in the other kind of side of the business, on Thursdays, we're going to be doing, so at the beginning, the first 30 minutes is going to be, so the first 30 minutes of Tuesdays are going to be the design prep questions. And then we'll get into actual coding, just live coding. And then on Thursdays, the first 30 minutes is going to be a design pattern. So if people don't know what the Gang of Four is, we could first get into that, but we'll take a design pattern and break it down and either add it to Breakpoint AI as an example, or if not applicable at the current time, make a sort of sample app to show a real life thing. So not just, animal for a dog and an animal to show hierarchy, but what it actually looked like in real life coding. So today we're going to get started with a system design question. And we'll go pretty high level the first time we do it, and then we'll revisit this, and it's kind of a living document. I'll probably make a repository for these things, and it's going to be mainly generated in Markdown. So let me actually create a new window. Throw this open. So let me go to GitHub, throw open a new repository. And I had this set up, and then as I was thinking about it, I was like, oh, a repository is the way to do this. And we're just going to be, let me throw up here. We're going to be going through some major examples of system design going through the practice of system level design for well-known software. Public, readme, yes. Nope. And then we'll go and throw some settings on those really quick just to no, don't really need that. Okay. Boom, boom, boom. Repos. Okay. So for the first one we're doing today, we are going to do Twitter. So in college, actually, that was one of my junior year projects, was doing a Twitter clone. And so a lot of the basic aspects I've actually implemented in software myself, which was actually a really cool project. And something like that is kind of the reason I really liked my program that I did, because we got to kind of implement a lot of the features that would be required for an enterprise software architecture. So, but that aside, in a standard interview, and let me just fix this one thing. fix it really quick. There we go. Okay. Okay. So in the standard way you're doing system design is by having you first get the functional requirements out of the way. So like what actually is required from this system. So let's just do Twitter system design. We're gonna pull this up in a markdown, and then we'll do some diagramming as well. So we'll throw that in a different way, and I'll probably do paint and then throw that in there in a nice and easy way, just like a screenshot or whatever. But so Twitter system design. So the functional requirements first is from a user's perspective, right? So the things that Twitter can do, and the things that we'll focus on here, is view posts in a feed. And posts are text with optional image. You can like, comment, retweet. I don't use Twitter or X, so I don't really know what you could actually do. You favorite, save it. You could save/favorite it. That's probably fine for now. And then 3, you can upload a post. And then what else can you really do in Twitter? You could search for posts, search trending by topic or generally. Anything else from a Twitter perspective that we'd want to implement? So we can view posts in a feed. We can like, comment, retweet, save, favorite it, upload a post, search trending by topic or just generally. What else can you really do on Twitter? You can get notified about someone posting. You could follow people. And your posts in a feed are a mix of algorithmic recommendations and then from followed, right? So you want to see your follower, or your followers want to see your posts, and when you follow someone, you want to see their posts, right? So these are the functional requirements that we are going to do. So, well, users, it's a pretty well trodden path, right? How do you sign up with the user? We don't need to do that, right? That's generally what they're going for. That what they're going for is, are you able to break down this list of items and actually understand, oh, okay, with this, I need XYZ, right? With posts in a feed, I need to be able to have an algorithm to get my next page of posts, right? Because you're not just saying, give me all the posts in the world. You need to have a nice queue way of doing this thing. So when you refresh, it's quick, right? So from a functional requirements, these are the things it's going to do. Now, how it's going to do them, things like, I'm trying to think of the best word to describe this. So not functional requirements, but more of development requirements. So this is going to be a highly available application. Highly. This is going to be able to handle millions of users, both uploading posts and viewing posts, viewing their feed. What else? In seconds, be able to notify all followers about a user's new post, right? Because when you refresh the feed, if someone posted, you want to see it, right? You're not waiting 15 minutes. There's no data delay. You can't have like a data sync that is asynchronous that says, oh, well, I'll pick up that post later. It needs to be pretty quick, right? And then you need to be able to see the images and all these things and where they host them. So lots of things in that kind of realm that requires you to do this. So from a super simple standpoint, we can now break them into API endpoints. So this is, we're going to assume it's you could be a native app or a desktop, doesn't really matter, right? We just have a client agnostic API. Typically in these sort of system designs, the backend is where the interesting magic happens. Like a front end, yeah, you should be paging things. You should do lazy loading of different things. You should do caching, but like, right? A lot of user applications are very similar in that kind of way, where it's you're not reinventing the wheel when you do a new social media app, right? That's not really what we're going for. So we're just gonna skip to the back end, because once you hit the API, then you kind of have the interesting bits of architecture. But yeah, let's start. Let's just go API endpoints. So the most basic set you're gonna have is a upload post endpoint. Going to have a get recommended feed page endpoint. So this is by user. So when a user logs in, they want their recommended posts. They need to have some sort of get trending feed endpoint. And this is more like get trending endpoint, get feed endpoint. These are both paged. Get page of posts for feed. Get page of posts for trending endpoint. Let's see, what other endpoints do we really need to do? I mean, you need to be able to follow people, follow user. I mean, the whole CRUD operations on a user. So unfollow user, follow user, and then you need to be able to edit your user, add your user, delete your user, etc. But we'll just group those into maintenance ones. It's not really important if you do that. So that's that. Let me just make sure my sound's all good. Good. And I did change some settings, so hopefully the text is a little bigger, and the actually pop that up really quick. So yeah, let's keep going. So the first thing we're gonna have to realize is that posts aren't going to be able to directly save into a database, because the problem with that is an API can't handle the concurrent requests that are going to be required. The scalability of this API is, how do you handle an image if you just post it directly to? So a better way to do that is to save it off to a blob and then handle the getting of the blob later on. And I'm going to be just full transparency here. W3 School does a really good job of doing these kind of things. I want to say they did a Twitter one specifically. Twitter system design. Yeah, so W3 School does a really great job, but we're just going through this together. But that's kind of the big thing I wanted to show you guys, is just they have really great things. And look at that, functional requirements, and they call them non-functional requirements. So highly read heavy, didn't really do that. So high availability for tweet engagement, right? So that's the thing we were saying earlier. So yeah, I just wanted to notate that they do really great work. And I think it's just really, really worth for you guys to go through them if you're looking for a job, or even just like being able to talk about these kind of things. It's really, really interesting. So yeah, just wanted to point that out while we're here. So we can go back and we'll continue down this road. Okay, so follow and unfollow user. And there we go. Okay, So the way, let's do some implementation now, right? So let's get a little more granular on the upload post. So there are a couple limits that need to be put in place here, right? So if it's a video, so post content, max of, what is it, 256 characters? Let's say 500 characters for our, I don't actually know what Twitter puts a limit of. Max of 500 characters for text. You can tag users. You can do hashtags to bucket the content. And that's another thing you can actually do is functional requirements have, that's search trending by topic. So the topic is hashtags. Boop, boop, boop. Okay, or just generate. Okay, do hashtags to bucket the content. What is a max of 1 image? I don't actually know what this is, if this is true or not, but max of 1 image in post or 1 15-second video. That makes sense to me. What else? So post content, maybe per user, max of 1,000 posts a day. Thanks, Joe. I see it's not fair because there's probably only the single Twitch stream you've seen all day, so it's not fair. But back to the system design. Per user, max of 1,000 posts a day. So really that's a artificial, how many people are actually posting that much, but just in terms of throttling, those are the kinds of things that you need to think about is if you are trying to handle certain requirements of a post is able to be uploaded in a certain amount, 1 million users times 1,000 posts, that's a lot of posts per day that are allowed. So we have an API that receives this endpoint, and we could really think about this as a microservice. And actually, I'm gonna let me pull up like a system designer. Let's see, what's the one? I've trying to look at the free one for the UML stuff and diagrams.net, but I do love me some MS Paint, but we'll go a little nicer here. Okay, so this one's Twitter. Okay, so you could really think about it as microservices, right? Because you want to have multiple different scalability options, because your upload posts aren't going to be the same endpoint as your get feed, right? Your get feed, everybody's doing that, and generally not everyone is making posts on Twitter. Many people are just reads. So like W3 Schools was saying, Twitter is a read heavy system, so we can keep that in mind when we talk about scalability. And we're going to keep this simple. I'm not going to go into true UML. I find that early on when you're iterating pretty fast, I don't like UML because I'm bad at it. Okay, but we're gonna call this the upload post, and I'm gonna talk in Azure land, but we could, this could be lambdas for AWS as well. But this is basically a serverless function, so where it has its own compute space and has it kind of manages its scalability. These could also be containers, right? Where it's, if you have a pod of containers that are able to scale and, horizontally and vertically, you can do the same thing. But for our purposes right now, we can start with high level of just like, this is serverless compute. However you do it, just allow it to be in its own space off in the corner, for separation concerns kind of reasons. But so you have an upload post function, and this directly is going to be talking to a backing store of blob storage, because the best way to handle things like images, videos, is blob storage. So And it's really going to be talking to two things, because while it's good to handle blob storage with discrete things like videos and the other things, we actually have other things attached to our posts. So like the content, the text and the tags, and we're going to want that in a structured database. In a simple world, this could be SQL, could also be in NoSQL, but this would allow you to have cross-references to users, so that when you tag someone, it's a real user, and you can connect it with user identity and just a foreign key, which makes it super simple. So I'm going to do a relational database of some sort. SQL's the one that comes to mind here, and that's the one I've implemented before, but could be anything. So in this structure of a post, we'll actually go with this one. We can call this a post. This is going to be an ID, just for uniqueness concerns, which could be a UUID. Then you have like does Twitter have post names? I don't think they do, but post content, just a string. We'll make this a little bigger. Then you would have things like the optional video or resource link, which is going to be a fully qualified link to the blob storage. So then in S3 or Azure Blob Storage, you're directly pointing to the resource, so that when you rehydrate this post for a user, it's really easy for the front end to then collapse these things down. So this is going to be a URL. And then you might have a series of tags, which is going to be in a database, we're going to pop this out to a many-to-many table. But for now, we'll just do trying to think of the word. We'll drop it to a different table of just a relational table that will connect you with users or tags is going to be content. So it's going to be like hashtags. So then you could have some sort of aggregate that would allow you to in time get what's a trending post. And I think we're going to need to put some more thought into that, because that's not the way we're going to do it. But I think for tonight, we'll probably keep iterating on this. But the basic thing is we're just going to have a tags for now. Some sort of aggregate trending is going to be a later function. So maybe a many to many with IDs. And then let's see, what else do you need? You need tags. Well, tags is like a user. Do you add a user or do you tag a user? Hashtags as well. What else is into a max of an image per user, and then a user ID, which is a UUID for it. And that's really it, right? So you've uploaded a post to a user, but now how do you actually exercise that out to a follower, right? Because there's a big difference between, okay, now I have a thing in the database versus, okay, but I need to now go alert all these followers about this thing. And there's a couple different ways we can do this. I'm actually interested in in our, let me see if I actually have this repository. I want to say I do. Twitter clone, Twitter Reel. This was a really fun project, actually. So we have a server, and it was in Java because that was what we did. But we had service, follower service, and let me see, it was it user service that did it? This was register, hashing, logging in, status. Yeah, and the way we did it is we had a queue. I was just verifying it's been a couple of years, but we had a queue that actually you would pop for each item in the queue for each post. This would then go off to a separate, let's see, what's a good queue shape? This is a post queue that then would allow you to, for each post, once uploaded to the relational database, be sent to the queue, and then it would be able to churn on the posts. So instead of having, oh, I have the front end keep polling and polling, it's actually a push model where I get a queue that takes my posts, finds the relevant followers that need this post, and I push it out to them, right? So in the land of, right, the reason we do queues and things like Azure Service Bus queues or Azure Service Bus topics or whatever, you could have subscribers. And that's probably the way I would implement it, is with a topic and subscribers. So then for each follower, you would have a subscriber. But you could also do queues and do it as a serverless function. Then you'd have a process queue for each thing. That's another Lambda. So then you would have another asynchronous thing. And we'll go with that for now. So a post queue and then a little function that pulls from, that gets populated for each post, that then is a process post function. And this sends the post to the followers of that user. And this function scales huge, right? It only takes a couple seconds because you're just accessing, obviously in the case where you have millions of followers, right? If you're the most active or the most popular account on Twitter, then it takes a little bit longer. But your notify user becomes a asynchronous function that gets fired off in a fan sort of way, right? So the single post from the popular user takes the same amount of time as the one follower guy over here, but then the notify users fans out, right? So yeah, this is, I think I'm going to stop here. I want to keep them bite-sized and short, just to be able to talk at a high level of what's actually going on with software. But I think, just starting off, the upload post, it's more than just taking a post and then sending it to a database and then coming back, right? There's a lot of things that, if you have 1 million users, scalability and availability becomes really powerful things and really important things. It's almost top of mind at all times. So I'm just gonna pop this in here, and we'll refine this process as we go, because I don't want to. Let's do initial pass through. So I think that looks good for now. Let's pop this in, and let's just generate a README really quick. Going through the practice of well-known software. This repository is designed as a way of sharing my thoughts on well-known software architecture and how I arrive at the end, and how I arrive at various levels of depth. Okay, so this is going to be, and we'll do conventional commits, but by name. Twitter, part 1 of the upload function. That's really as simple as we're going to do today. Because I don't want to get overly bogged down in what the process is going to be. But yeah, so that's going to be it for the system design. Okay, so we are going to move from that, and let me just pin this. Let me pin this repository for you guys really quick. Because I do think these kinds of things are really important to just be able to talk at length about software architecture. And I think it's actually one of my favorite things is doing architecture problems, is not only what is the problem, but then what is a really cool solution? And a lot of these things are going to be well-worn paths, right? Like queues are going to be a very common staple in those kind of architecture decisions, because queues are really good at handling huge amounts of data in a reliable and asynchronous way. Yeah, that's where I'm got. And I'm just, give me 1 second. I'm just going to give this pop in here. Make sure this all is going good. I swear that thing is possibly buggy. Okay. So we are going to go back to now DAO breakpoint. So our main project here. And we'll keep some of those architecture decisions in my mind. Okay, sorry about that. So let's get back to DAO breakpoint, like I was saying. So last time we left off, we were at the custom model step. And I've done a little more digging into the data, and I think a lot of it's going to be actually off, but I will come back with kind of major checkpoints. So like once I get some data, I'll show one example of me tagging the data, because I think that's going to be kind of a cool process. But I'm just going through and processing that data and trying to see, okay, how can I take tennis footage and find a good way to actually throw the needed metadata that I need. And I think the discussion we had last time of, okay, kinesthetics is going to be too hard. We're not going to be at that level. We want to go more at a high level of like, hey, in these 3 steps of pre-swing, so your prep, your contact point, and then your follow through, what does that look like in a good swing? So I'm going to make some assumptions of like, hey, pros are going to do this right every time. Obviously, I'm not going to pick like a horrible swing from a pro, but generally I'm going to pick a pro swing and be like, they know how to do it. Their kind of contact points, their kind of follow through, their kind of prep is what we are striving for. And then below that, just harvesting clips from YouTube using the free license, because it's after all a learning exercise and has nothing to do with monetary. So, make sure to follow the correct things. But yeah, so a lot of that's going to be super interesting, but it's going to be super boring. And if people have done ML training data and finding that kind of data, the data is the hardest part. Having labeled good data is what makes or breaks a great model. I'm guessing this model of Breakpoint AI is going to be kind of garbage, which is fine, because it's, the rest of it's kind of the important part of how do you create a function that then goes in and, does data analysis and otherwise, right? So these this stuff up here of like the analyzer function, right? So for each key frame, that does give you some really cool code that we'll get into. But I'm going to put that on the back burner because I think I need some data first. And that's going to be some async stuff that I do like on a weekend or whatever. But I will keep giving updates as we go, if that makes sense. Okay. So what I do want to get back to is the website, because I want to set up some other patterns for what that website's going to look like. And there's a lot of to-dos that I left because I think I was getting off into the land of, I want to do the really cool AI things, but the problem is I need the data to do that. But currently where we're at, I'm gonna just throw up a whip branch, and that branch was actually merged in, because this sort of thing of a new function, a lot of things is it's just the more we learn about this project, the more we're going to change the data model. So like, I didn't, I knew we would need a swing type eventually. I knew this one, it's kind of basic, but then things like the analysis event of, oh, this is actually what's being popped onto the queue because there's that queue again. We're going to be doing a queue model. So instead of just similar to a Twitter post, we're not just going to, okay, upload a video and then analyze it on the server and just let it churn. We're going to say, okay, this has now been requested. Go send this off to the back end to a different serverless compute little bit and have it do it. So in our case, it's going to be an Azure function that's going to be separate. It's going to be in the same solution just so it can use some of the niceties of C# and shared code and all these things. But it's going to be in deployed Azure. It's actually going to be a separate whole thing. The things like these things, super simple. We want shared services between our different programs. So that's good. So yeah, what was this? Yeah, okay, yeah, it was some AI discussions last time. So, what I want to get back into is, where is my stuff? I think it's this one. I guess I never went into it, whatever. Breakpoint AI.breakpoint, I suppose. Let me close out of a couple things, make sure we're good here. Okay. So, go to issues. Oh, that's what was the one thing I wanted to do. Because someone was actually interested in doing the Swagger one, they said I go through the repo setup, and I don't have a README. So we're going to quickly generate a README just to help people if they do ever want to be a part of this and to help generate things, because that's what this project is about. It's about taking practice in writing code. So we need to write a README because that is the first step to a good repository. It's having a good README. And we don't even have a README. That is, or is it just at the other layer? I bet you it's just at the other layer. So let's open Visual Studio Code open. They have a nice markdown README formatter. DAO AI breakpoint. README. Yeah, don't have one yet. So this project is intended for showcasing enterprise practices in a real application. From error logging to resiliency. Let's see. How do I want to say this? The domain is the central focus of the project is a custom AI model to analyze a tennis swing and give coaching feedback to the user to improve. That's really it, right? So let's do intended purpose. Or maybe architecture. So the pieces are, let's see, API, architecture A, this microservice, that's not really microservice because it's just a client server. The main application is a client server, is a hosting a C# API, a Angular frontend, a SQL database, and is there anything else that's going to host? And a SQL database. This uses standard, let's see, standard client server architecture. And then we can get into the API. The API uses a service repository, controller service repository, pattern to interact with the database and the front end. And then we can start getting to more specifics. So like DAO.ai.breakpoint.data is the EF core data per entity project. All entities and related objects go here. DAO.ai.api service. Oh. Breakpoint. DAO.ai.breakpoint.api service holds the controller layer and handles the authentication setup. DAO.ai.breakpoint.services holds the services and repositories and the connecting DTOs and search params objects, any needed models for front and communication go here. Okay, I think that's really all the big ones. .ai.breakpoint.web holds the Angular front end, which is the main desktop application for both users and admins to interact with Breakpoint AI. Because eventually we'll get into a native app, which is gonna be pretty cool. We're gonna be using a different setup because I actually want to learn React Native. I've never done it before. So just like Aspire, it's gonna be a journey together. So yeah, I think this is good enough for a README. So just because what we have in Git changes is a lot, let's just stage this. Add initial README for project transparency for project description or basic project description. Commit stage. And then where are we at currently with this crap? So I think I want to get to a point tonight where we have a lot of the front end basics. I have added that's fine. So go to issues. Currently have player profiles with the API and custom models. So do I want to do this or do other? And I did an API seeder. That is what I did. Implement player type feature. That's not really what I didn't do. Busy spinner, breadcrumbs, migration manager. what did I say I was going to do? Development. Just straight development. I knew I had a plan. I can't remember what I was. I planned it. I planned it. Okay, hold on. I gotta go look at my notes and see what I planned. Okay. Yeah, I just plan to finish the player profile. Make it simple for me. So start doing real work, you know. Pop over here, open recent. Let's get into the breakpoint web. Just dive on in. Okay. Make sure it's launched. I'm gonna throw some music on, get our real coding going. Oh, I swear, every single time I've forgotten how to do that. Just forget how to operate as a human being. Okay, I think we should be good. Let's stop that and start it again. Ooh, is that coming through? Hold on. I gotta make sure my music's not coming through. Oh, now it definitely is because it's just playing through my phone. Sorry. Technical difficulties. I changed my mic setup the way I'm getting it through. Okay. Just gotta play that for a sec. Okay. Sorry about that. We're all good. Oh, wait, hold on. Am I? Yeah, we are fine. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm just crazy. Okay, let's get this started. Come say hi to the stream. It's my cat. Very cute. Okay. Good. There we go. Finally saw it. I saw it. Okay. See, and typically I'm a 2-monitor coder, so I like having it on the one side, and then on the other I do my code. But obviously less possible when I'm streaming, which is fine. I just need to get used to it. But what I'm going to be doing is pulling off to the side, so I'll show you guys every once in a while what it actually is looking like, and then we'll go from there if that's cool. Because it's kind of UI based, but I'll make sure to check in if anybody does come in chat, which is awesome. If they don't, great. No worries. Okay. So go back to app routes. You really do need to implement a homepage first. And we can get rid of this one. And then auth stuff is going to be on Thursday because I need to research how I want to do that. I think I'm going to implement an OpenID server on my own. Not on my own, sorry, my own time, but on the back end. And then we're going to connect that to external users. So if you want to set up on Google, then you sign up through, you connect your Google account to my OpenID server that I'll create on the API, which can be really cool. I've never actually done that before. But that's kind of the plan. But I need to figure out if that's the right way to do it. I've never done this kind of thing. But externally, that is next steps is auth, because we actually need to do that eventually. So, and I'm also going to be pulling up Angular material on the side, because that is where we are. I'm using, but just know that my resources could be here, because it might be too small on the camera if it's like this. Maybe not. Maybe it's not. Maybe it's not. Maybe it's not. Yeah, I think I can get away with this, right? It's gonna be a little annoying. Okay, I'll get used to it. I just need to show you guys a good thing. Okay, so let's go to app component. Breakpoint logo component, because I don't have anything currently there. Let's go there. Let's go toolbar. I'm basically gonna redo it, and I'll do it myself. Welcome, Dread Breadcrumb. Just doing some Aspire and Angular. So I'm working through the toolbar and getting that working. I've never used Angular material. So actually, we could do the side nav as well, because I think we had both. Yeah, so if you have a side nav container, basic drawer, let's see their examples, because I want to see the fixed side nav. Do we want to fix side nav? I like the closing and opening. Response, so that's responsive. Let's see what that looks like, and then we'll start pulling from, I want to say we want to pull from this one. This is going to be the one we get. Side nav. Fire this open. Styling ref. Styling. I actually am, yeah. I had a little bit of trouble connecting an Angular app to Aspire. But I actually really liked it. I've used it on projects before. I've just never set it up myself, but it's really nice for new devs to roll onto, because instead of, oh, I have to then pull open I have to clone a new database and then call these things, and then I have to set up eventually it's going to be things like, asynchronous functions. It's all just kind of in the app host, which is really nice. And there's less local settings that you need to require. So I've actually really liked it so far, and it promotes really good logging practices. Aspire is big in their observability. If you look at Aspire observability, it's pushed you and kind of requires you to have logging, tracing, metrics, things like that. So it's really good to help you fall into the correct patterns. So great question, Dread Breadcrumb. So yeah, I've liked it a lot, and it helps. Yeah, 100%. iLogger for life. Love iLogger. A good thing. So yeah, this is definitely what we want from Angular material. I'm a Bootstrap person myself, but this is exactly what we want. So let's pull this. Let's see here. So they just have the straight. Should run. Remove. I don't think we need any of this. Sorry about that. Yeah, so let's go here. Do they have any styling? They do, and I remember this correctly as well, because we have in it our style CSS, right? I guess I moved down my SCSS. Okay, that's fine. Let's pull all this. So when the side nav is not fixed, stretch the side nav to fill the available space, causes side to act as stalling for, and we're just gonna do breakpoint. We're just gonna replace, and I'm not gonna do it is mobile. But don't constrain. This allows our, and maybe I will, I guess. It did look pretty nice. Example breakpoint. Just gonna throw that in there. Breakpoint. Okay. Make sure the sidebar. Okay. Go here. Go to the HTML5. If should run. And then is there an is mobile? There is. So that's going to be like a platform native check. Is mobile. Oh, interesting. They do it with a media query. There's definitely better ways to do that. So I'll do that myself of setting like a min width, but we could also, because yeah, they're basically just saying max width, but there's better ways to do that. Basically, when you resize the screen and then you just check it at the beginning. And I've done that before, so we'll go and do that a different way. But this is an interesting way to do it. I've never actually seen a media match to get a is mobile. So yeah, seems interesting. So back here though, let's get, and where does his content go? So his content goes, interesting, okay. Because if you look at here, yeah, so his content would go right in the middle. Interesting, okay. So let's pull off div to div. And then anywhere I see example, replace with breakpoint. And then I also called it not breakpoint app name, just breakpoint. And then this is going to be breakpoint app logo, I want to say. Because I want to say this is now, yep, just a mat icon. So in H1, it's great. Breakpoint logo. We'll just do a self-closing one. Mat toolbar, so is mobile. We need that Boolean, and he currently has a signal, so I'm just gonna change it to a straight. And then filler content nav list. So we need to set our navs. And I'm not gonna do a for loop. We could definitely do a for loop, but I don't know. Let's see, because this is not actually going anywhere. And different things are to require different things. So like when you click on profile, you need to load your user profile from the app or whatever you're doing. Sign in, right? Can't do that with sign in. So for now, I'm just going to do the one. So I'll do home. And this is just going to send you, just like the breakpoint logo should be sending you already home. And no, it doesn't. So, and then click just, or I guess probably want it to be a navigate, an Angular navigate. And I need this is mobile to be like that. And then for filler content, let's make this the router outlet. Oh, okay. So now we're getting pretty close. And then the is mobile. Let's go back to here. And let's go protected is mobile Boolean. And then we need to implement the watchers. So screen size change Angular watch. That's just like a host listener. Yep, exactly like that. Host listener, window resize, beautiful. And we just check right at the beginning as well. So we'll throw a private function, private check screen size, and then yeah, go like that. That's fine. So yeah, I really just want inner. Yep. Okay, and then this just calls this. Boom, boom. Pop that in. This is basically the exact same thing that they're doing here within the Stack Blitz, except I'm not using a media query and matching, doing like this match thing. I'm just saying straight up, what is the screen size? So yeah, kind of the difference there. Title. Let's use the title. I don't think I'm actually using this anywhere. And is mobile. See what that looks like. There you go. So now you have a DAO logo for that, where that's my little component that I made that I need to actually make bigger. And then also the other thing is I probably want it to be actually specified in here that it's always an H1. So what is this? What is this breakpoint? Oh, I need an extension that allows me to go to the class with F12, but whatever. Get that later. So SCSS. What's this breakpoint? The margin left is 8 pixels. Okay. So we'll pull this out because really that should be here. And it doesn't really need to be a style. It could just be straight up a thing. So let's go back to the app component, HTML. So let's just pull this H1. And this is going to be just like a margin left 2. So then breakpoint logo, let's throw that H1 in, H1 in, and then we'll do, let's throw the app component HTML. I'm a big jazz listener, so I always have my jazz music on in the background when I'm coding. That's my thing, or orchestra music actually, kind of either way. And just throw a title in there. There we go. And we'll make that font and all those things. Still need to make the logo bigger. I'm not sure why this SVG is so small. Let's see, matte icon, SVG icon. I'm gonna have the AI try. Can you make the logo bigger for the, can you make the SVG logo bigger in my, okay. And we're just gonna close that and go back to the app component. And we'll continue. So now we have home. And how big is that? This is, I do like having icons so then when you collapse, it's not fully gone. But for now, this is fine. So let's go to the home page because what's actually being shown first? Just a div class with a flex. And let's just throw in a margin 2. Because then, yep. So now when we get that looking good. Okay, and then we'll go to player profile, and let's see, result. Let's see if it actually did anything. Shit will keep. Let's see what it actually did. And I added my git. What did I do here? I added my git. I don't want file annotations, toggle file blame. It's only ever going to be me. So if you want to blame me, that is fair as well. And I don't think that actually worked. I remember trying before Excel last time, which is fine. Doesn't work. That's okay. Good try, Copilot. Good try. And we'll throw the to-do back in. Okay, so now we have a home page. We have a nice little side nav. We'll need some plumbing to do profile stuff, but that's going to depend on the implementation. But I imagine it could be a nice little sign-in button in the top. But let's go to, let's add a side nav in our app. And actually, I think if you click your name, and then it'll be on the top right. So maybe on the nav, My icon. So what's this saying? Is mobile, side nav, list. We have the icon, and then at the end. So let's do a breakpoint toolbar. So let's see what is it between breakpoint toolbar position fixed, side nav content. So if we have another, where does this go? Does it go at the end? Imagine it's gonna be right there. Yeah. Okay. And this is gonna be flex content around. Actually, let's go between, and then let's do a div and a div. So then first half, end half. Great. And so I want it to still be at a row. Flex, why is it column? So flex, so I have the button and the logo. Breakpoint toolbar. They're needed to be done in column. Oh, okay. Oh, breakpoint container. And this is fixed. Is then breakpoint toolbar, and then I don't need any of this. Is then, because really the toolbar should be getting. Oh, I guess I have another div that's now stopping it. Yeah, D flex, flex row. That should fix it. And is it deflex? That's what it is in Tailwind for flex. It's just maybe just flex instead of display flex like that. Yeah, that's my problem. There we go. Okay. And test is still not at the end. So flex row, and that needs to be at the end, right? Yep. And we'll add the item center. I like that. Flex between. Because now what we should be seeing is flex. Is it justify between? Justify content. Is it, oh, it's not flex between, it's justify between. Because it should be justify content space between. So how big is this? Oh, and this is the, got it. Justify content. So that really should be applied to up here. And that's the breakpoint toolbar. So then that goes probably in here. Breakpoint toolbar. Justify content space between. Reload, recycle, reload. Because now it should be flex direction, map toolbar, breakpoint toolbar. See, why is breakpoint toolbar not being applied? Map toolbar, breakpoint toolbar, map toolbar. Interesting. What am I doing wrong here? What am I doing silly? Because breakpoint is oh. Call me silly. Call me silly. Call me silly. Breakpoint toolbar. Yep. It does look pretty clean though, I'd say. Breakpoint toolbar. Yep. Call me an idiot. Yep, stays there. Test. Nice. Okay, so this is where my profile is going to be. Nice. Go back here. So now this is going to be my profile stuff. So let's do, how do I want to do this? For now, we'll just do profile. And we'll make this a 8-click. Not really a list item, is it? Actually, it looks pretty good. Okay, so then on link, router link, we'll do, so for now, so let's go to the player profile, because right now I'm hard coding to 1, but really this should be ng-init with the router params. So if you look at Angular router params, there's a really cool way to do this that I actually like doing always. So getting route formation, this input, I really like. So with component input binding, I prefer this way of doing it. So then you can directly bind an input. So I'm gonna pop this in there as well, because that's a really cool one. So let's make sure that our provided router did that. So let's go app.config. And I want to say I didn't do it. Yep. So app routes with component. So then you just go with component input binding. Pop, pop, pop. Okay. And then back to the player profile. Then the way you do this is by having a on the input. So add input to the matching the name of the parameter. So we'll change it from player ID to an input of player ID. So, and this is defined here as ID. So we actually need to make the, let's just make this player ID just for simplicity's sake. Player profile, player ID, and then we'll get rid of this one. And we make it an input. Sorry, equals dot required, and let's pop this in there. Input dot required of a string. Boom. So then get rid of you, and now you just have a this.player ID. Isn't that beautiful? And then you just do it like that. Argument is not assignable to number. Oh, duh. Thank you. So then we can now hard code the param inside up a different layer, which is really nice, because then now we're removing it. So then we add auth, and then we have a player param. Then you are able to navigate to a player profile once they're signed in and have their ID, which is awesome. So let's make this a player protected. Let's go is signed in. This is going to be dumb for now. And we do want to do, let's do implements on init, because ideally, and we're going to make this a public because it is needed by the DOM. So then let's do public on init, check screen size. That's great. So is signed in, And then let's make this a protected player ID. And number of null, start at null. And then let's do a simple method. So let's put this protected sign in. We're just gonna name it something simple like, or do something simple like is sign is true, player ID is 1, and do it. Okay. So then let's go bind this up to a component. If is signed in, then otherwise you're gonna have a button to sign in. And then once you can sign in, then you router link it to, and let me look at the routes, app routes, profile/player ID. So boom, 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 profile, player ID. Okay, so now we should be going back here. Look at that. We have a nice little sign in button. Sign in. And now I have a profile. And then these A clicks, mat list items, should be clickable. And I thought I defined that here. Maybe it's in the style CSS. I want A's to be, oh, buttons. Oh, let's do A's. Yeah, why not? Give me the white space. Very helpful. Very helpful. So give it a second. Okay, sign in. Cursor. Didn't get my cursor. Not very nice. So go back here. Let's refresh that state. Inspect. Why is my so let's look at cursor. Who is messing with my cursor? Cursor is a pointer. So boom. Inspect you. Cursor is default. Okay. No. Use the evil CSS important. Profile. And we can also make it a button. Not that big of a deal. It also doesn't need to be a mat list item, because whatever. So maybe we don't, but whatever. Profile, look, we have a profile. Beautiful. So now we can go back home, and home doesn't actually do anything. Let's fix that really quick. Nav. Sign in. Where's my side nav? Home. Yes. Router link. Home. Home. Thank you. Okay. Looking great, actually. And then let's see, sign in, goes to profile, Alex Champion. And then let's throw in a side nav. If is signed in, and then let's go profile, player ID, view profile. And I am a sucker for side navs that sit open. So what I want to do is let's actually implement this nice little side nav that is, so instead of closing, I'll show you what I'm going to do in Paint here. So I want a side nav more similar to Azure Portal, where when you close it, you get a nice little side nav with just icons. And then you expand it, and then the icons have life. So home, little boop, boop. Player profile, great, beautiful. Don't save. Okay, so if we go back here, so fixed viewport, where is the side nav container? So breakpoint, where is closed? So if you click the 3 menu buttons, what does it do? It's snav.toggle. So if we go to the app component, hold on, let me turn down my, we're actually using a side nav expanded. No. Material side nav. Where is that defined here? Okay, can we close you out, please? SNav. Oh, okay, dot toggle. Is there a different way to not have it fully toggled? Dot close. Well, it's kind of nice having it open like that, but so when it's open, what defines its width there? CDK inner container. What defines its size? Do I define that in app CSS? Side nav container. When the side nav is not fixed, stretch the side nav containers to fill the available space. This causes to act as a scrolling element for the thing. Okay. When the side nav is fixed, don't constrain the height of the side. This allows. So let's look at what this looks like in mobile currently. So it just pops over into the whole thing. So when it's mobile, I want it to fully close. But when it's not mobile, I don't want it to fully close. So let's just add some nice icons for them. Matte icon, boom. Home, do we have a home? Do we have a profile? Guessing it's to be something like user. Yep, nice. Sign in. Okay, so let's open you up a little more. Let's look at Angular material. Where did you go? Angular material, Angular material, Angular material. Oh, there it is. Let's look at icon. Basic icons, yep. Example styling. Ooh, supported by, oh, not that, oh, no. Angular material, icon for user. But I know there's more than that, right? Because there's home. I know there's home already. List. Oh, let's see what AI did. Person. Oh, account circle. Account circle is the one I like. Okay, view profile. Let's go there. And then I probably need to throw in a nice way to make them aligned. Yep. Okay. So here, material. So if I do flex, oh, display flex, that actually works for it. Okay. Tier nav list, class flex. And this is where it's nice to have for loop, but whatever. And I guess I could construct a nav list item where it's then, that did not look as good as it did before. Material. Material nav list. See, where did that go? Oh. Display flex. Oh, is it inside the A? Display flex. See, it's the small things that make it impossible to do. Yeah, I mean, it was at the very bottom. So that's where that item went wrong. Material. It's home, but the home doesn't still look right. Yeah, home doesn't look right because class flex. Okay, whatever. We'll fix you later. Okay, so we have view profile, home. So over side. So I mean, it's not bad for now. It's not bad. But now I have to fix the icon though. Material icon. If I just do like a margin top, margin top 5 pixels on the material icon. Yeah, it just gets pushed down. Adding top. Just trying to find the simple solution. There we go. Okay. So let's pop that off. Let's go class. Padding top 2. Padding top 2. Padding top 4. Padding top 3. I don't know, it's not doing anything. Tailwind padding classes. Padding PT PT6 PT. Is that not what I'm doing? No. Is Tailwind even on? Come on. What's Tailwind doing? How do I get to, let's go sources. Let's go CSS. Tailwind CSS right there. Let's look up PT. Dash. Interesting. Interesting. What is my problem? I'm just bad at this. Bad at this padding top stuff. How to Tailwind to Angular up. I mean, surely it's in there because like I did that Tailwind config JS. I mean, that's right. So it has to be right. AI did it. It has to be right. Why is that favicon still there? Why are you still there, favicon? The fave icon, huh? Public favicon. Oh, that's why. It's loaded just straight up there. Okay, well, I can get rid of that real quick. I can do this correctly, maybe. DAO codes. Get the favicon. Logo SVG. Public logo. I don't have a fav icon version of it. To make favicon from SVG. Okay, that's not bad. Place. Nice. Nice. Again, it's a little small, but that's okay. Okay, homepage, home, sign in, view profile. What if I just do in the list item, like center, justify content center, align items center. I guess that doesn't matter because it's inside of this, right? Inside this span, because then it's this, yes. Align items center, justify content center, display flex. Okay, there we go. So it only took 7 things. So at the list level, which is what I thought it was, the mat list item pop in. Guess what's thinking I'm crazy. Mat list item, yep, class. So if I do space, class equals flex. Item center. Opening tag is not terminated. See, what the heck? You are not being nice right now, bro. So open that up. See, it's on the A, but then it's not in the span. I mean, that's just me being dumb with Angular material and what it's creating inside. Material, let's look at material list item, because I bet you list item, list item. So is there like a class? Oh, material list item. And do I just need to do this? It's not really a material list item, right? Because then I could just make the class flex item center, flex item center. Thank you. There we go. I'll take that. So nice. Okay. Class margin M2. Always need my margin M2 on the mat icons. And then let's do this whole nav list. I mean, problem is then I'm losing out some of the niceties of the nav list of the logging in the middle and the other things, but for now this is fine, I guess. Home, sign in, view profile. Nice. Okay. And this side nav, let's see what this side nav is going to be. And this is the problem. This is my one problem with UIs is I'm like, it'll be 2 seconds. I just want to do the UI really quick. And then it takes me so long to do the UI. Because I always get caught up in these stupid details. But we are here now at sitting at the profile level of Alex Champion. So let's actually just commit all this stuff because we have a lot of changes. So let's do it in multiple layers. So let's stage the analyzer function. Let's do the after program. So let's do the web changes first. Have it do it. Let's see if my nice little commit message that we talked about last time in I guess in a short, I talked about it. But for some clarifications, go to options, GitHub, Copilot, go to the bottom here. Boom, commit message, custom instructions. So it should give me a conventional commit for larger PRs, should give me a longer description. Right. Yep. 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 Okay. And then let's do it again. Just to make sure my commit history looks like someone I care. This commit project analyze for key change include this analyze object and some database context other. Updates include refactoring for and updating this. Yes. Add Azure functions for tennis swing analysis. And where am I adding this custom database context? Because I'm modifying it. I'm just for adding for analysis events. Integrates with blob storage and a custom. Oh, okay. It integrates it. Nah. Don't do any of that. Okay. Push you out. Yep, that's just straight to main. Because I run this project. No. Just because I'm lazy. For now. Okay. But now we get, boom, the API. Get some README going. Okay. Let's go back. Let's restart this thing. So in the last 20 minutes, I want to get now down to brass tacks of what we're actually doing. So let's go back to, we can actually start doing this issue of player profile. So create login flow, player profile swing analyzer, create database structure and infrastructure to house videos, view plays historical data. So we'll need to pick a charting library. We'll need to pick what sort of metrics we want to show. And I think we already did a little bit of that work when we created the swing, and this is going to be the player DTO.TypeScript. This player's with stats, so total matches, and these some nice bar charts that will show on the front end in different ways. Trying to think what else. That's really all I can think of for now. Let's make sure this is running now. Whoa, Docker, where'd you go, bro? It's too bad. Hold on, I'm gonna go feed my cats. I'll be right back. Hey, sorry about that. Welcome back. Just making sure we can all hear. Okay, good. Okay, so last 20 minutes, we'll get into the play profile, pick a charting thing, get some cool stuff shown on the screen. We'll do just the basic layout here. So if we pop over to our website, which now has a nice, beautiful Valve icon. That's a little small. Still need to fix that. So sign in, view profile. Okay, so right now we have our player profile, and that's really it. We get it, and we have a loading. So this will be getting into our, we have an HTTP request out, and we want to make a busy spinner. We'll do that next time, probably at the beginning, after the auth stuff. We probably won't have time to do both, so maybe we'll just do the auth stuff next time, because that will probably take quite a bit of time to do. But so let's just get into a basic setup. So we basically have player stats at the very beginning, nginit, asynchronously get players with stats. So what does this players with stats have for us? Which is what we were looking at the player level, player DTO level. So total matches, I'm going to pull up a paint thing, because I think we can get something pretty close to what we want. So total matches. So what do we want our site to look like? Maybe a little bit of, let's make sure. They always like switching bowls at the end and start eating each other's food. It's very fun. Maybe like a win-loss pie. And let's see. Okay, sorry, gotta moderate that message. Possible ban evader. Yeah, you need to be banned. Mod actions, block, report. Please don't fall for scams and bots, man. Please don't fall for scams and bots. Follow bot. Block this user. Okay. Make sure that he went away. See, I'm bad at this kind of thing. How do I do it? How do I ban timeout, warn, mod? I don't want to mod him. Ban him though. Yeah. Sorry about that. That's the more annoying part of Twitch. Sorry, where were we? So user profile. So nice big name at the top. And then I really like the look of cards. So maybe a rounded card. Match stats. And maybe this card actually is over to the side. A little bit over here. Because the main one should be, what was it before? Was it brush? Another card. Swing stats. Player stats. Player profile. And these are like that. And then this is going to be like the big pie chart win-loss. Maybe it's the donut chart of win-losses with the green and red. And then this one is going to be like the player type, kind of that same graph we were talking about over where it's like the one thing in the middle and then the 5 points out here. And then you're like, you're this much this guy, you're this much this guy, you're not much this guy, you're that a lot that guy, and not much this guy. We'll just kind of just copy that from this one because I really like that chart. I think that would be pretty sweet. And then maybe this is like add new swing on the little plus button up in the top right. Because because that's these things, and then an estimated rating. So I think this is pretty good. And then maybe the bottom card is like coaching tips. And maybe eventually you show your screen, but okay. So 3 cards, kind of just start breaking it out like that. And having some bands around, not bands, some bars around. So let's go to the player profile. So inside of this H1, I want to have a big div that shows just go margin into 2. Is every page going to need this if we end up having this? Yes. So let's go back. Let's just make this nice and simple. Put on the app component right before the router outlet. Let's just do a big div class margin 2. Throw the router outlet in there because we don't want to have to do that every single time. That should go there. Okay, so then now we go into the player profile. Player stats with name. So this H1 is really small, surprisingly. It's kind of annoying, but that's fine. So let's pull up Angular or Tailwind. Actually, no, Angular material. We're going to the Angular material. Let's make sure. Okay, Tailwind card, Angular material card. Yeah, exactly. So cards with action alignment options. Do we have action alignments? Card with footer. Card with media sizes. Card overview. So I like this look because then we can get. So yeah, let's do. This is going to be what our player profile card. Player profile card, and then we do our match stats card, and then maybe a coaching card, and this one's like historical data as well. Match stats, player profile, and maybe a historical card. So then you have like 4 historical card, and maybe obviously I don't actually know anything, so let's just go. And I won't need this because I'll do a to-do with a busy spinner. But the layout we're gonna do mostly is grid stuff. So div class, and this is where Tailwind comes in. Because and we can also do, I mean, grids. So that's nice. Forgot the Angular material also has grids. So call span. So, but I want like dynamic. Does Angular material have a it's just have a corollary to bootstrap, call large, call 12, call large 6. Yeah, okay, so then this is where Tailwind comes in. Tailwind, call. Yep, column large. So is it going to be the same as that, where it's provides use columns and hold on, something's going on in the background. What is going on? Columns or dynamic sizing. Columns for different screen sizes. And if Tailwind doesn't have this, this is what? So medium, okay, that's just, it just does it differently. Okay, that's fine, that's fine. So let's do div class was grid calls so there's, that's interesting. So then the column content, so then they're individual stats. So then it would be the cards. Okay, that is interesting. Okay, so that's fine. So calls just one, and then medium. Let's just go large. Grid calls. Okay. Let's get this outside of the historical card. Get you. So then let's give you now some mat card. Okay, there we go. You are just flapping today. Let's go imports material card. Import material card. Card module. So the player profile is just gonna have estimated. And let's just pop in a name for now. We don't need as much. Matches 1. Player stats. And I don't think you have a matches. Oh, you do. Okay. Nice. So then div it up for the end. You are the bad one. So player profile, that's that. Match stats card, that's that. And where is my extra div that's not being closed? So div. Unexpected closing tag of a div match card. That's why. Map card. Okay. Sign in. Profile. And look at that. We start to have, so now we would have a third card once we get the historical card. We'll just do the coaching card for now because I don't know actually what I would do. This is the coaching history. And for for each, let coaching of player stats dot. What does player stats have? Oh, for doing C# there for a sec. What is the Angular for? What am I being stupid? For items of items, track. And players.stats has a latest coaching tips. For tip of, and then let's do a track ID index. Okay. Okay, there you go. Mat card. Yep, I messed something up here. For card content, mat card. Mat card, mat card. What is going on? For tip. Yeah, let's just go. No. Coaching tips available. Index in Angular 4. Yeah, that's right. For tips of latest coaching tips. I don't know what material card is. Matching material content. Content. It's always the dumb things. Boom shaka. We now have, and now we want probably some title. Let's. And this is probably where we're going to do a breadcrumb, which is nice. But we now have a player profile for name. You've won 2 matches, coaching history. And next time, after auth, we'll come back to the front end and do some charting stuff. We'll pick a cool Angular chart library and start filling out the things. So thank you guys for stopping by if you did. If you ever have any questions or wants or anything, feel free to message me. This has been DAO Codes. Happy coding.